Hello, this is Avery. We're doing the Chenille American Eagle panel quilt with the American flag. I have purchased 4 panels to create this chenille quilt block or quilt panel, and you have to cut each of the panels the exact same size so that each panel will match the actual artwork. So I'm gonna get started with that. The way a panel is sold to you when you go to a quilt store is they're sold with a little cutting line here, and it has a little cutting line right there, and that's what we need to do to cut our fabric panels. So we're going to get that started. I'm going to have all of them cut in a few minutes and come back to you. Here is a trick to cut your panels so that you're even. I found that it's easier just to take a rotary cutter and a cutting mat, cut your panel, and as you cut, you just lift on the dotted line as you're cutting. You see how I'm lifting this? It makes it so much easier to cut straight and also save some wear and tear on your hands. But you're just going to cut this as you go. I'm going to move my, especially if you have a smaller mat, I'm going to move my panel towards me. And then cut and lift my panel that I'm trimming away at the same time. So my blade is contacting the board the whole time, okay? All the way down to the very, very end. And keep cutting a straight line. All right, then you're gonna take your panels that you have trimmed. Now, ladies, it's probably best, and guys, to take one panel at a time and measure how much distance you want to cut away from your panel, okay? So let's say that I'm using the stars as my piece to measure from. I just want to make sure that all my points are going to be straight with the line and trim away your salvage, okay? So you're going to decide how you're going to trim your panels, because your panels are going to be a little uneven, so you have to square them up. So square them up as clean as possible, making sure that you are point on that straight line and trim, okay? So let's see, I'll do the sample here. Put your hand firmly onto your mat and your ruler. And what you're gonna do, normally you have this on the end of the quilt block or the quilt panel, and just cut. And you're gonna use that cut line, okay, as your next cutting. So as you move down, it gets much easier once you do that first cut, ladies and guys, okay? You're gonna just move your mat or your panel to the mat. Then you can line up the block again, okay? Or your ruler again with your mat and the ruler and the cut line, and then just trim. It becomes very easy, just that one. So now what I will do on my other 4 panels, or 3 panels, excuse me, I will just line up and trim. Then I'm gonna sandwich them together right sides up. So what's happening, I will take this panel, lay my next panel on top of that, right side up, my next panel, right side up. You could also do a little spray adhesive to just make sure that you're lining up all the rectangles together properly. And then at that point, you're going to put the back on, which I will then show you on the next series, all right? All right, so we're going to be trimming all of the panels exactly the same size. Once you square up one side, it's easy to square up the other. I have decided on the sides of this particular panel that I am going to have about an inch border from the stars to the cut edge of this fabric, so that all of the long-sided panels, the long sides of my panels, will all equal to an inch. And then on the bottom of my panel, I trimmed away and left about a half an inch of raw edge to the stars. All of the 4 panels are going to be exactly the same size, so that your print, when you do the chenille cutting, it's going to match up and look like it's one huge panel, but actually it's going to be 4 separate prints. Okay, guys and ladies? So this is just trimming, moving your panel around to fit your board that you're using as your cutting mat. And I do suggest that you use a cutting mat. Trying to do the accuracy of cutting these edges, you would have to mark and then cut precisely. So I suggest using your rotary cutter, a nice ruler, and my ruler, I have misplaced my OmniGrid ruler, so I'm using the Go Cutter ruler. It has a dark line. The OmniGrid, I like to use normally on this, but I just can't find out where I put it. It has yellow lines, and the yellow lines really help me line up on this darker fabric. I have to do a little bit more, measuring or precision. I have to look at exactly where that black line and that white tip of the stars are when using a darker ruler. Some people like to use the rulers that have the hot pink, so it's up to the individual with what eyesight they have. Whatever is easiest for them, please do the ruler that's best suited for your vision. So we're just going to cut. See, I'm just moving my panel to me so that I can keep my ruler and everything all lined up. And now that panel is done. I have 2 panels already done, so I'm going to show you something real quick. So you're going to, once you have everything pressed, and I do suggest best pressing, you're going to get all the wrinkles out. You can actually take 505 or a light quilt spray adhesive, spray this, and you're going to take your panels, all of your panels, and you're going to lay them on top of each other to make a big sandwich. So you're just going to make sure that everything is lining up so that you can prepare this for sewing. And this is just step 1 here of what we're going to show. I'm showing you. But you're going to line up everything, all 4 panels, okay, ladies and guys? You can pin if you want to make sure that everything stays in place. But if you spray starch it and you spray adhesive, it will make it a lot easier. And whenever you spray adhesive, what you want to do is you want to spray where you're going to stick. So you're going to spray there, then stick your quilt top or your panel together. Press, press, press. You're going to lift and you're going to spray, right? Then you're going to take this panel and you're going to place it down gently, making sure that it's all lining up, right? Then you take your other panel, lay it on top, spray just half at a time to make sure that you're lining up all your points and everything you want to make it work right for you, okay? So that is what you're going to do before you start stitching. Hello, this is Avery. We're doing the Chenille American Eagle panel quilt with the American flag. I have purchased 4 panels to create this chenille quilt block or quilt panel, and you have to cut each of the panels the exact same size so that each panel will match the actual artwork. So I'm gonna get started with that. The way a panel is sold to you when you go to a quilt store is they're sold with a little cutting line here, and it has a little cutting line right there, and that's what we need to do to cut our fabric panels. So we're going to get that started. I'm going to have all of them cut in a few minutes and come back to you.